Hey, everybody, welcome to Season 3, Episode 10, the Green Effect Podcast. Kind of a special edition. So, some of you may have heard through social media and all the other ways around here that I've left RBC, started up my own little shtick as a mortgage agent. And that's what this special edition podcast is. So, I talk about my decision, what came into it, where I think things are going. And if you want more than just a snappy 2-minute video on social media with an announcement, take in this podcast. Again, it's a little bit less of my talking about my Tiffy boy BFF and more about my decision, what things look like going forward. And it's just a great little snippet as to what happened. Without further ado, let's get into it.
Welcome to the Green Effect Podcast. Finance, life, business, and everything in between. And now, your host, Stephen Green.
Here we go, Season 3, Episode 10. This is a bit of a different podcast. I'm really fortunate to have an outlet like this where I can talk to people and, we talk about obviously, the market and life things and whatever. And this time around, we're more going to talk about something that is a little more personal, obviously, around my decision to leave a fantastic organization in RBC and move into this mortgage agent world. And, I think it's nice for me to almost give some closure, if that makes any sense. And then, talking about opening up the next door into what I'm going into. So let's talk a little bit about the reason. Why did I do this? And I think that there's so many different reasons that culminated over probably a year or so. And, first of all, as I've said, RBC, I was there for actually almost 11 and a half years, over 11 and a half years. And the people there were amazing. They still are. The people are amazing. I had probably one of the best managers I've ever had. And I had him for the whole time. He hired me and he took my resignation when I left. So I really, truly feel having the right manager, the right coach, the right human being as the person that's, your leader through your job is so critical. Everything they say about it is true. You can't have a job without having an amazing leader. So Dave, I don't know if you listen to these, probably not, but thank you for everything. And again, when I looked at this, I really had to look at it from a couple of different perspectives. I have built over the last, 4 or 5 years in particular, because the first few years you start out in this role, you don't know what you are, who you are, what you look like. You just don't know. And when I started this, I say about 4 or 5 years ago, I really started to establish a bit of a brand for myself. And branding in this business is so critical. It's so important. I think for the most part, and hey, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. In this market, I think even in Southwestern Ontario, if not larger, I think this business, and any business really, is about the people. And I don't think a lot of people care too much. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later on, but for the most part, I don't think people care too much about, are you TD? Are you RBC? Are you this? Are you that? It's really the people that they want to work with. And if I was to give any advice as to new mortgage agents, real estate agents, whoever's getting into business, you got to make sure that you really relate to people. You're human. People can sniff out bullshit a mile away, and especially experienced people and clients. So be genuine, be yourself. And I think that's what started to really happen over the last 4 or 5 years is I developed my own brand. There was there was something that was different about me compared to others, which is where I was able to build my business. And so as time progressed, that brand became very dominant, we'll say. And listen, I mean, I'm not here to say my brand was better than a bank's. Hell no. I mean, a major bank's brand is humongous. That's not where I'm going with this. The way I kind of looked at it is I kind of outgrew the bank a little bit, if that makes sense. And that's not a slam against anybody. That's more just me looking at this saying, okay, I don't necessarily right now need the bank branding. I can do this on my own. And that's probably, in a really weird kind of way, that's probably more of a compliment to my boss, my former boss, Dave. Like, he empowered me to do this. And so, if you're a manager out there, please don't think, oh my God, I'm not going to empower my people, they're going to leave. That's not what it is at all. But I think, and again, I'm digressing a little bit here. As a leader, you want that. That's a reflection of a good leader. If your folks feel empowered and they can do stuff on their own, like, I think that's an important aspect here. Anyway, my brand really became my own. And I think the people that I worked with, my referral sources, my clients, yeah, it was fantastic. I had a brand like RBC behind me, but they were also looking at me. They wanted me to get stuff done for them. They wanted me to work with their clients. They wanted the great communication and the very straightforward conversations I have with clients. So once this brand thing really started to take steam, then I started to look at other parts of my business and where things were going in the industry. I can tell you right now, folks, as an example, Rocket Mortgage is here. They're here. And the generations coming through right now, they still need the advice and the conversation and the direction. They need it. Believe me, I work with them. They need it. But gone are the days of making an appointment, putting pants on, going into a retail location, sitting down, taking a very long time to do things. And when I looked at this, I thought, can I take tools that are available to me for purchase or otherwise and make this an incredible experience for the next generation coming through, or just my business in general? And that's really what this became, where I needed, in order for me to grow my business, in particular, in, let's call it a volatile market, I needed to do things better, faster, cheaper. And all of that, this is what my thought process, get ready for this, all of that would lead to a much better client experience, which means I could grow my own business that way. So that is very high level, very generalized, very all that stuff. And I think that's really what this comes down to for me. I think it was such an incredible experience when I was with RBC, but now I've kind of outgrown it a little bit. Now it's time for me to get out there, again, continue to grow my own brand, all that other stuff. Okay. So, again, I think it's a battle for the smartphone. How much can you do on your smartphone with your service providers? I look at how many times do we look at a service and we ask them, do you have an app? Do you have a really great website that we can go to get information? Right? Then I think as an independent individual, I can go ahead, I can implement an app. I can implement a website with features that people are asking me for. I don't have to worry about necessarily that kind of corporate culture where they're trying to balance their brand and my brand at the same time. That's a tough thing, and I don't fault them for it. I don't. I would protect my brand the exact same way they would be protecting their brand. Having said that, that's where this became a process where I've kind of outgrown that and I needed to go on my own, do my own thing. For those of you who don't know me really well, I'll give you a bit of a history on Steven here where, listen, I'll give some examples, okay? As you probably know, I coached competitive volleyball for 25 years, and I had an opportunity to coach at University of Waterloo with the women's varsity team, and I was there for a few years. And that's when I really uncovered my inability to listen and my inability to take instruction real well, which has really been something through my whole life since I was a kid. My mother will completely attest to that. So, doing stuff on my own is really what I like to do. I am, for those of you who know the disc profile, I am a high DI, but I'm also a high C. Like, why my wife married me, I have no idea. Well, I know why she married me, but if you know the disc profile, when you're that type of personality type, and listen, that personality type, there's one thing in there where it talks about if it ain't broke, let's break it. And that's me. It's like, can we do this better? Can we do it faster? Can we pivot on a dime and get something done, right? So that's a little bit of a glimpse into me. I like to challenge. I like to push the envelope on things. I might be one of the only mortgage folks in the area. I don't know, maybe there's 50 other I didn't notice, but I'm one of the only mortgage folks doing a podcast. I'm one of the only mortgage folks, again, in the area doing TikTok videos, just shameless plug. So, these are the kinds of things that I had to look at. How can I do things better, keep the business moving, all sorts of stuff like that. So at the end of the day, everybody, I think I wouldn't have made this move if I didn't think that I could help clients and my partners and referral sources more, better, faster, all sorts of stuff like that. So again, that's high level. That's why I made this choice. Nothing bad or otherwise. It was time. I ran into a couple of sales managers from RBC just recently, and that's how I said it. It was time. Nothing bad. It's all good. It's time. And I also think too, one other comment I will make, I think when you're in business, you have to adapt to your market. And this next point is actually very, very critical. So I've always been a bank guy. Fair enough. I know how the bank works. It's something, again, 11 and a half years, I did exceptionally well and worked with a great organization. However, there is a perception with clients and folks, again, if you know me, you know I did my homework on this. So there is a perception, right or wrong. Hey, listen, I'll let you know in a few months if it's right or wrong. So far, it may or may not be right. So there's a perception that a bank person, so let's say when a referral partner of mine says, hey, go see Steven, and the client's like, well, what is Steven? And the referral partner says, well, he works at RBC. There's a perception that a person that works at a bank wouldn't necessarily have the knowledge, the expertise, or the availability of options that a mortgage agent or mortgage broker would have. The perception is the mortgage agent or broker would have more options, in it for the right reasons, which is for the client's best interest, not necessarily selling, quote, selling what the bank wants the person to sell. And then, of course, there is this kind of thing, the anti-bank thing, right? I don't want to give in to the enterprise. I want to have a guy, who wears jeans and running shoes, which is part of my brand as well, doing what's right for me and giving me advice. And that's the perception, right or wrong. That's the perception. And I can tell you right now, I think I'll give you a better update in a few months, maybe, as to if that's right, wrong, or otherwise. But I know already I've had referral sources say it's easier now to refer to you. We were always wanting to, but again, whatever the client wants. But now it's easier. It's an easier conversation. And so for me, again, decision process, if I can take some of the incredible things I've learned and ability to mitigate credit and understanding lenders combined with the really strong communication protocols and organizations because of my high C that I have, this could be a winning formula for me. So I'm going to stop there. I think it's high level stuff. That's the reason behind it. I wanted to do this special podcast because I haven't done one in 2 weeks because, it's kind of in, again, mortgage agent purgatory, but I wanted to come out and just explain what happened, what I did, why I did it. And other than that, that's the main thing behind it. So with that being said, make sure you like and follow, 5-star review, visit our website. Here we go, shameless plug, guys. Visit our website, thefinancialcollective.ca. Download our app, play with our calculators, meet our team. There's probably, almost for sure, there's a new mortgage agent joining our team probably in the next month or so. And other than that, I'm looking forward to it. Hope you are. Love to hear your comments. And we'll talk to you soon next time, probably next week, when I get back on my Tiffy boy horse and talk about my brother, my BFF. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Green Effect Podcast. Subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or Google Play so you catch the next episode. And don't forget to leave a review. Much appreciated.